20 years ago, a seed was planted and cared for. We painstakingly nurtured it and weathered it against adversity until one day it blossomed and the fruits of our labor began to show. Today, millions have learned, shared, and been inspired by what our community has produced. We proudly serve 21 million users from 204 countries in 2019. For our 85,000 technical articles, code samples, and videos, our 450,000 forum questions, and our highly anticipated conferences and events featuring keynote panels, live streams, and industry experts and influencers, we recognize and reward members for their dedication to the community. Through content contributions and mentorships, we ranked number 2,620 in the world with a reach of millions across our social media channels. Thanks to you, our global community of software and data developers grows stronger each day. For more information, visit us at csharpcorner.com.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of C Sharp Corner Growth Mindset Show. My name is Mahesh Chan. I'm founder of C Sharp Corner and host of this Growth Mindset Show. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with this show. If you are new joining us, this is every Friday. I'm not sure if this camera works good. So let me think. I'm trying to adjust this. I'm doing this from my phone. All right. So if you're joining us first time, welcome to the show. If you're joining us back, welcome back to the show. It's as I said, it's every Friday. Today it's a different topic. Today, we're going to talk about work, happiness, and what makes you happy, and how you can be happy at work if you are, working in IT. And we're all talking about IT and software development here. So yeah, everybody, let's see again. As we know, this show is for you. If you have any questions, comments, make sure you post on this comments. Either you're joining us from YouTube or Twitter. I see Deepak is joining us from India. MD is joining us as well. Familiar faces. Yeah, so keep those comments coming. But before that, let me ask you this. It's a question for you. The question is, are you happy at work? Are you happy at your work? It's for everybody. Question is for everybody. Are you happy at work? In the answer, post your answer, yes, no. And then we will go from there. And I'll come back to your, question there after that. So little background, who you don't know, I have been in IT for about 24 25 years. It's been a long time. I've seen almost every phases of in IT, right? And work with different teams, work with different companies, work with people, different kind of people, from beginner to senior to CEOs to different departments. And I'll share my thoughts. Keep in mind, these are just my views and my opinions. Doesn't mean I'm right. You may have, you may say, that no, that's not for me. This doesn't work for me. I disagree. I agree. So post your comments. So I will also learn from you on that side. So yes, Ishika Tiwari, welcome to the show. Welcome to have you here. Again, ask your questions. If you are a student, you're joining from if you are in college, or you're just joining starting as a new IT personal, joining us like any company, or you've been working for a while, doesn't matter. It all applies to everybody. Before that, so I live here outside of Philadelphia in the US. It's nice outside, beautiful day today, 80 degrees, 80 some degrees. Now it's really summer here, almost. I would say you can say it's summer here, and it's everywhere is beautiful, nice. Maybe one day I will do show from outside. We will see. I have to set things up outside. Good thing is I can do this show from phone, so I can do from anywhere. That's awesome. Um, so let's talk about the happiness, right? What makes you happy? First of all, let me ask you, are you happy at work? So I see MD said yes, he's happy at work. Deepak says definitely happy at work, learning many new things. Ishika says she's happy at work. Great. I'll keep those questions coming, right? And we have feedback coming, or comments coming. Um, so when you think of work, right? And I begin, as I said, I have a lot of experience in IT field. I start working in 1997. So that's when I graduated in 1997. So now it's been 25 years. And when you think of happiness at work, there are multiple factors, right? Obviously, first factor is salary. Like, are you being compensated enough? Do you feel like, you're getting paid enough? Sometimes people feel like, oh, that company is paying more, this company is paying less. So that's one factor starting. That's one of the key factors, right? After that, there's a factor of people who you work with. That's another factor where, and they're not in any, this order. It can be in any order depending on person to person. I'm not putting in order or priority. But when you think of happiness, you think of, okay, compensation. Like, am I getting enough salary and money and vacation and perks and so on and so forth? Second thing is people you're working with. Are you working with good people? You can get a lot of salaries, but you can have a boss who's a jerk. You may not be happy there. You have a company, maybe you may be making a lot of money, but you put in a project where you're just fixing bugs. You may not be happy, right? So there can be multiple reasons for not being happy, and vice versa, right? It could be a company culture. It could also be, the flexibility of working from home versus working on site, right? So it's all a lot of those things, and everybody's different. Every individual is different. For me, different priorities. You have different priorities. Some people actually like to go to work and work there and be done with it. Some people say, I like to work from home. Some like to, mix both. Like they say, oh, I want some few days go, maybe out of 5 days, I'll go to 2 days to work, 3 days I work from home, and so on and so forth. So, what is the main factor? Looks like everybody's happy, at least who is joining us our show. Hey, Venkat, welcome to the show. I see you back. Yes. So, Venkat, today really we are talking about today is the happiness at work and what makes you happy, and how can you, if you're not happy at work, what should you be doing and thinking and how it would work out. So that will lead to eventually happiness at work. That's kind of we're talking today. Um, if you have any tips sharing, you feel free to share. Uh, so, as I said, the happiness can be, at work there are multiple factors that can affect. It could be the compensation, salaries, benefits, perks. It can be the people you work with. It can be the company culture. It can be the flexibility of, when you can take days off, when you cannot take days off, and all the policies and so on and so forth. So today our goal is, and 15, 20 minutes is talk about, and I want to get your feedback. Like, what is that makes you happy? What you all said you're happy at work. What does that make you happy at your current company where you're working? Like, what is that one factor? And what is that one factor that kind of annoys you or doesn't make you happy? Right. That's also. Let's share your feedback and comments here, so I can discuss on those as well. So, during my time of so many years of managing people, working for people, and so on and so forth, what I learned is there are some people, I talk to people, and actually some people say, oh, I don't want to do work because I'm not getting paid enough. So I don't want to do work because I'm not getting paid enough. That's one person said over time. This is actually this kind of situation. If you're stuck in this kind of situation, it's bad for everybody. Bad not only for company, obviously it's bad for the company, it's bad for the project, but it's actually worse for you yourself. It's because first of all you're not happy. And then second of all, you are not really being productive, whatever you do. Anytime you are in a situation where you're not being productive of what you do, that's really bad for you more than anybody else. It's basically forget money aside, you're kind of wasting your time where you could be growing in your time. And that's really where I want to bring your thoughts, how you can think of that uh, when you're working in these projects or in these companies, how are they helping you in long run? So that's one thing I want you to think about is that some people they're not motivated to work enough or being productive because they are not being compensated for whatever reasons. And then if you listen, as I said, I've been on both sides of the story. So if you ask the other side, the company or the manager, they're not going to give you compensation high or increased salary because they are saying, oh, he's not performing well. He's not being productive. So you are situation, deadlock in programming. We have this deadlock where this part is asking this is asking that, nobody's compensating, so it's a deadlock. There's no solution for the problem. And that's what you are in a deadlock when you say, yeah, it's like a chicken and egg, right? You chicken first or egg first? Which one is first? It's like, I don't want to work. Why? Because I'm not getting paid. Companies like, oh, we don't want to pay him more because he's not being productive. Do you see the situation here? So it's like a deadlock. You never want to be in this situation, ever, ever, ever. It's bad for you more than the company. See, when you think of a company in businesses, no matter what you tell, like it's a bad company, it's a bad manager, doesn't matter. Companies and businesses have only one and one goal. That's called, it's like to survive, to as a person, you to survive, you need to eat, you need to drink water, you need to have nutrition and all those air and all that. If you think of a business or a company for to survive and grow and flourish, is that they need to make money, they need to make profits. If company doesn't make money, it will eventually die, right? And again, I may sound like, because I'm sharing the both sides, I'm sharing the side of an employee and employer, company and people who work for, right? Worker and company. So company only has one and one goal, that people who work, they are being productive and they make money for it. If company doesn't make money, then company will die. So company has to survive. That's the first goal. Uh, if there's 1,000 employees working for a company and one or two don't survive, they're not happy, that's fine, because that's not company's goal. It should be, however, the culture should be take care of every employee, every person work for it. Because if everybody's working, everybody's being productive, then that means company is being productive, and overall that means company is growing. So everybody's working, growing, happy, companies working, growing, happy, company, then everything is going. It's like you cannot have the employees or people work for a company not happy, not being productive, and expect company to make money. That's not how it works. It all goes together. It's like your body. Think of your body, right? Your body is one, and in body, if there's something wrong in your stomach, it's going to affect the whole thing, right? If I don't know, if you have like stomach ache, you cannot work and focus and do other things. Same thing with the company. If a company within the company employees are not happy, it's like there's something sickness going on within the company. Companies, like, you can think of company as a body, and employees are part of that body, right? So you get the idea, right? So it's not, if you're not happy at work, it's also not affecting you. Obviously, it's affecting you and also affecting company as well. So to company to be really flourish and be happy and productive, both parties had to work together and resolve the solution. If there is a deadlock, that means somebody has to fix that. Now, as a person, as a developer, as an employee, you only have certain things in your control. Okay, you don't have a lot of things in control. My belief is, if things you cannot control, you cannot worry about them. And you cannot complain about them. You just need to focus on what you can do and how you can get out of this deadlock situation. So you're not happy at work. First thing you can really do is talk to somebody who's your manager, who's the right person about the what exactly problem you're having. So, for example, again, best thing is you talk to people. Best thing is communication. Okay, communication. If you talk to people, there's always some kind of solution. Anshu, Anshuman, welcome to the show. Um, Deepak has some comments here. Yes, so we will take those as well while I'm talking. Everybody, I would love to hear your feedback, what you have and what you think, and what anything you have done to resolve those kind of deadlocks where you are not happy and your manager is not happy. So how do you do to solve that problem? The first thing you start with is communication, right? You sit down with your manager, immediate manager, who can listen to you and say these are the problems. For example, you're not getting enough salary compared to others. You can talk to them. I'd say, I think my compensation should be more. Why? Because whatever the reason, you have to prove your case. Like, I'm being productive, I'm doing so much work. But if you are saying, oh, I'm not doing work and expecting paid, that won't work, because then you have nothing to go and talk about because you're not really being productive. Now, manager will say, I can't really give you raise because you're not really productive. You're not really helping company or projects and whatever else, right? So that's kind of one thing you can do is communicate, right? Second thing you can do is, if you're not happy at work, you already talk to your manager and they don't care, they're not listening, and you see that there's no chance of resolving my problems here. Rather than complaining and being frustrated and going home sad and mad and fighting, or not being being rude to people and employees and other coworkers, you got to figure out what can you do, what is in your control. You can do multiple things. You can find a better option. You can find there's so many companies out there, they may be better fit for you than the current one. There may be so many managers. Even sometimes within the company there are different projects, there are different teams, there are different departments and divisions, right? I know a friend, he worked as a senior position in a big, large corporation. We have, I think, about 200,000 employees, and he wasn't happy at his role, whatever he had. He went within the company, talked to the senior management, and he then moved to a different division. And now he's more happy there because he see that as a role that he likes to do. So there are different options, different solutions if you're willing to talk to somebody about that and communicate about that and explain the reason. That's how you can do. So let's say you are working in a company, you like the company, you want to stay in the company, you're getting you're happy with what compensation you have, what benefits you have, you're happy there, but you're not happy with your project, you're not happy with the technology you're working in. You say you want to work in something more modern, but you are put in an older project. The best thing and first thing you should be doing is going and talking to your manager and say, I love the company, I love the team, I love you, it's awesome, my coworkers are great. But one thing I really don't like is, or not, the project. I wish I could get something else, maybe side by side, if not 100%. So you got to go slow, right? You can say, maybe side by side, I can get in another project where I can learn more. A lot of people get frustrated because they're working in these long big projects where there's no learning or very less learning, and there's no growth opportunity when it comes to learning and new technologies, right? So a lot of people get frustrated with that. um, One option is that you can just keep doing what you're doing and just be relaxed and enjoy life. But that's great. Nothing wrong with that. That's great. That's awesome. But then there's no growth. So if you think you're okay with your life, you don't need to worry about growing. You don't have too much, other dreams and whatever, so on and so forth. That's fine. But if you say, I want to grow my life, I want to, move to the higher levels and so on, then that's when you need to start thinking. And the best way is that communicate to your managers, your right people. Say, hey, I love the whole company, love your team, love the coworkers, I don't want to leave it. I was wondering if I can get something different, or maybe start working in a different project. That's to me is the first thing you would think. Um, am I making sense, guys? Do you think I'm making sense? Have you done anything like that before? Or yeah, feel free to share your comments. I would love to hear from you. So now, second thing is you talk to the manager and they say, no, we don't have anything for you. You're going to just continue working on this, and you're not really happy with the project or with the salary. Guess what? There's so much out there. You just start looking for that. And sometimes I know it's not easy then saying it because you're going to switch the company, especially if you are a senior person. It takes, and you say you are a senior person, you've been working in a company for 10 years, then it's even harder to change than being a young person when you just work for a company for 6 months or a year, right? That's how it works. So in that case, what you do is you start learning new things and to try to look out outside where you think you can find a better job, where you can find a better team. Guarantee that it's not, there's no guarantee that you will leave this one company and you're gonna find a better because you don't know that until you really go and try it out. So you have to go and try it out. And it may not work out or it may work out. If it doesn't work out, you go try again. That's really until you find a place where you're happy in content, right? That's the kind of end goal. So that's one thing I would say is based on my experience, don't be in a deadlock situation because that's not good for anybody. That's not good for you. That's not good for the company. Um, Second thing is you can only control what you can. So don't worry about the things you cannot control. Don't be a guy, what I see is that I have so many, you read online or whatever, so many people, all they do is complain. They complain about their work, they complain about their project, they complain about their manager. Well, that's great, you can keep complaining, but that's not helping anybody. Maybe company will listen, that's great, but it's not helping you. So what will help you is do something, learn something, get better, and move on because your goal is to grow. Your goal is not to complain and stay there because if you just complain and stay there, then that's not good for you, right? So, what you do is really you go and keep looking and find something better fits you. All right, let's read some comments here. So, Deepak says many opportunities to learn new things. Yes, so that's one of the biggest thing for me is if you think of deciding to join a company. First thing, especially if you're young, especially you are like 5 years experience or younger you are, more you should look for is the learning opportunities, right? So when we start, let's say you graduated and you get out and you're looking for a company to join, your first company. You can look for a big company that pays you well, or you can look for a small to medium company that will pay you less, but there's a lot more learning opportunities. So how do you choose that? And again, it's up to you and what your immediate needs are. But if you ask me long run, you got to join the company where you have a lot of learning, where you can grow faster, right? Remember, a lot of learning also means you're growing faster than the slow learning. So in a couple of years, you will see that where you have learning opportunities, your growth is much higher than in a company where you have less learning opportunities but more salary in the beginning. That makes sense? So yeah, learning has to be the key, especially in our software development, because things are changing so fast. Every 3 to 6 months, you will see there's new product come in the market, new version coming out, you look at the even .NET, every year they come with the two major releases or at least one major release and things are changed, right? Angular, React, front-end databases, any technology you look at it. So it's hard for us to not learn new things. And some companies, I get this lot of, I see a lot of social media complain that their company doesn't allow them to learn and share and speak and do other things. So you got to think on those terms. Um, yeah, the culture has to be good, right? So culture is very important, and now many of us are working from home with limited on-site. But if you are on on-site, you are working with people, you have to like people. You have to like your work culture. So when you wake up, when you're going to work, you shouldn't be miserable. You should be happy that, oh great, I'm going to work and I have exciting day there. It shouldn't be like, oh crap, I have to go to work again. I have to meet the same people again. That's not good for long run. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your mental health. That's more important. Even it's really affecting more mental than physical. Really, that's not good because if you don't like your colleagues, you don't like your work, you don't like culture there, you're basically frustrated. You're in your mind. You're like always, thinking something like, you're not happy there. So that's important part. Remember, you're spending one third of life, more than one third of your life at work, right? Usually we spend 8+ hours a day with work or work colleagues, and even working remotely, we still hanging out with them virtually. So you don't want to spend majority of your life or a big chunk of your life being not happy. That's not good. That's not healthy, right? It's like you're married and you go home and you're fighting or you're not happy at home. That's also not healthy either. So it's kind of working with a company is like a relationship, and it's a long-term relationship most of the time because you're staying any company you join, I'm sure, unless it's bad company or bad project or you're not performing, you know 6 months maybe probably the shortest period, but usually it's years, right? Sometimes people work for 15 years for a company, sometimes work for several years. So it's like a relationship. So it has to be a good marriage. It cannot just be a one-sided where either you're not happy or employee not. The both has to be married, right? So that's when it works best. So that's how you have to think on terms. Okay, let's take some more comments. Yes. So Deepak says, yes, agreed. Ishka says, this is my first job and I found the helping nature of colleagues and uh, exploring new technologies. Yes. So if you are young, you just joined a company and people are helping you and you're learning. That's probably the fastest way you will grow in your career. That's where you want to be in your early career. You don't want to be in a career where it's a big company, but you just put in a corner in one project and you're given a little task because that will be the slow learning, if you ask me. Vittal says always inspiring to watch legend Mahesh. Sir, I'm no legend with Vittal. Good to see you here. I hope all is well with you. Yeah, it's been a long time. Vittal is a great guy. Goes back and we many years back when MVP and so conferences and so on and so forth. Great. So thank you, Vittal. Appreciate it, and thanks for joining us. Coming back. Yeah. So Vittal, you have a lot of experience. You want to share? Feel free to share your comments here for young people. Today. We are talking about how to be happy at work, right? Or if it's not easy sometimes to be happy at work because there are always some problems, right? There's either I don't like the work, or there's too much work, or sometimes there's no work, sometimes it's old project, sometimes there's no learning. So many factors goes on. So you have to look for the best combination, best options available there, and try to make best out of it. So we just covered a few things. Now, other things you can do and you can control is that you can try to initiate something which nobody else is doing. You can do that. I know it's a little bit, if you have not done that, it may not be that easy, but sometimes it's okay to take initiative and say, you know what? Well, we got to do something so people are more happy when they come to work. You can start that. You can always be vocal. You can speak up because worst case is people going to say no. Worst case is your idea may not be accepted by the company or the manager. That's fine, but it should not let you discourage. It's going to be like, sure, we all get disappointed when we have an idea and everybody says, no, it's a crappy idea. I understand that. But it should not let change your mindset that, oh, I'm never going to give any ideas because they didn't listen to me. It should not happen that way. It's fine. If one idea is not accepted, it's okay. You can again bring those ideas again. That's how you should be doing. And eventually you will see the impact. You will see the difference. If let's say you come up with the idea that, hey, you know what, every lunch we are going to start a lunch and learn because our company, we don't have a lot of learning opportunities because we have client projects and so on and so forth. Let's start lunch and learn. What does that mean? That means while we are doing lunchtime, there's break. It's not company's time. it's our personal time, we can learn during lunch. And a lot of big companies do that, lunch and learn. So what they do, lunch and learn, is that during the lunchtime, a bunch of people get together and one of them will speak up and talk about something new technology while you're doing your lunch, while eating your food. So that's one way to start lunch and learn program. It's not affecting the company's projects. It's not affecting client deliverables. It's not affecting anything. It's your own time, and you're using that time to learn something. And this has nothing to do with companies. So between you four guys, it doesn't have to be the whole company, right? It can just be the four of you, five of you, group of you. One, say you can make your own goals. Let's say your company doesn't approve the 30 people to hang out together during lunch. You can have a 4 or 5 people's team, whatever your current team is, and say, you know what? Every team member will learn one thing new each week. Out of sudden, every day in the lunch, you have something new to learn, and it can be anything. So what that will do is, when you're learning all these things, is you will start feeling that you're growing and you're learning something new, and you will. And what happens is, when new project comes in and you are in a meeting, you can then start talking about the new things you just learned in your team from your team members. Do you guys agree with that? Sean is here. Sean is welcome. When working at the company, you get to see how to see how software is built in the real world, which gives you a greater understanding of the craft. Yes, so that's another thing. Yeah, you can learn different ways, right? As I said, one is you can do lunch and learn. Sean just said you can also look at the project. So let's say you are a new member in a project. In project, there's probably, who knows, 10 members, 15 members, 5 members, doesn't matter. You can start going and digging deep the whole source code and project and see how it's done. That's another way to learn. You can learn that way. Sometimes you may not understand things. You can always ask. And remember, ask. There's no, shame in asking things you don't know, because that's the best thing you can do to yourself by not, asking and communicating with other team members. And a lot of people do that, and that's really, I used to be like that. So it's nothing wrong with it, but you can, as sooner you change, better and earlier you'll grow. That's kind of the point here, is that. So for example, you look at code, look at some code you don't understand, but you have a coworker who has more experience than you can always quickly ask, like, hey, I don't understand this, can you explain me? So that's definitely another way to learn, being part in these and digging these bigger, larger projects, and how, architects, they build the whole, architecture of the project, how senior experienced developers, they wrote code, and, all those things. Always be curious, right? Just be curious, ask questions. If you have any kind of questions, ask them. Just don't just keep in your, say, I'll figure it out and I'll go, because you may never get a chance. So, well, that's about it. Our time is kind of, we are over time, a few minutes over time, but today, hopefully you got some pointers that if you are not happy at work, or how you can even bring more happiness to work. Hopefully I gave you a couple of tips here. And thank you everybody for joining and all the nice comments, and good to see familiar faces. Vittal and Sean, good to see you back. It looks like, we have few folks join back in. So that's kind of our show today, with some few housekeeping items. End of the show, we have a blockchain conference coming up on June 7th. It was actually called Bcrypt. The conference called Bcrypt. It was in-person conference in New York, but due to some COVID restrictions in New York, it's now changed to virtual. So on 7th, check out bcrypt.live. It's a blockchain conference. It's going to be virtual now. And then I believe June 16th, we are doing a Stratus Day. That's one full day of learning Stratus. It's in person in Delhi. You can check out on Bcrypt. Agenda is also on Bcrypt as well. That's at a partnership with the University of College. There's a full day of learning Stratus blockchain, where you will learn, how to set up your Stratus node. You will also learn how to write smart contracts. There's 2, 3 Stratus developers coming from current team who will come and actually teach you hands-on Stratus blockchain development. So yeah, if you're local in Delhi, that's where something you want to. Stratus, if you don't know, it's all C# and .NET. So that's and then I think we have another part to a Bcrypt on again on agenda. I can't see really, this too small, this screen, but I think 17th or 18th we have another virtual conference, part 2 of Bcrypt, where we'll have different speakers coming, and a lot of learning there on blockchain, Web 3.0, NFTs, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so check that out. We will continue to do this Friday episodes. I'll be traveling a lot in next few weeks, so keep an eye on the social media for any changes. Oh yeah, I'm going to San Diego, and that's where David is. David, we're gonna probably do some C# Corner chapter events there in San Diego this year. Maybe we'll we'll stream them. We'll figure it out. We'll let you know. With that said, everybody, thank you so much for joining, hang out with me, and have a good weekend. Thank you.